Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Three things we need to do is lower taxes, require smart regulations, not more regulations, and reduce healthcare costs. That's from, because the question is, what do we need to do to grow jobs? Ask the people who actually grow jobs. Ask the small business community. They will tell you. They'll be very honest with you. And it's laid out in the Made in the USA manufacturing plan that's on my website. So we need to, number one, stop the largest planned tax increase in the history of this country has come December 31 of this year. My opponent is for it. I'm against it. It will be a tax increase on 1 million small businesses, according to the National Federation of Independent Businesses. Number two, reduce the kind of regulations that are killing the willingness of the small business to expand. My opponent just came out for a brand new federal regulation, well-intentioned again, that's going to apply to every business in America, 15 employees or more. A new regulation that doesn't currently exist today. Number three, reduce health care costs. The bill known as the Affordable Care Act, referred to earlier as Obamacare, increases taxes on small businesses and individuals, provides no cost containment for small businesses, completely ignored the important issue of healthcare liability reform, and has resulted in increased healthcare benefit costs for employers and employees across the board. So if you want to grow businesses, do what the business community asks you to do, lower taxes, reduce regulations, and do something about the out-of-control healthcare costs in this country. Finally, my opponent ended by talking about we have to invest in energy businesses, invest in companies like Solyndra, $500 million. What we need to do is invest in an all-of-the-above American energy strategy to get us into the 21st century.
Switching now to the questions from all of you who have been very patient, and Carlo's going to get us started. The first one goes to Mr. Fitzpatrick again.
We're in our last phase of our questioning. These are audience questions. Please give examples of how your views differ with the views of your party. What would you propose to stave off the budget crisis looming at the end of the year? I'm sorry, there's a postscript. Instead of kicking the can down the road.
Well, so I think there are two questions. One, how do I differ from my party? And the second is, what am I going to do to avert the budget crisis? I've already voted. I voted in July of this year not to kick the can down the road. I voted to make permanent all the current tax rates. I voted in July of this year at least to extend the current rates for another couple of years so that the business community has the kind of certainty that the business community deserves so that they can plan and expand and grow and hire. But where we are right now, because neither the President nor Harry Reid in the Senate, the Democrats in the Senate, are willing to abide that, they're threatening a tax increase on all businesses. It's something that in a difficult recovery, in a slow economic recovery, we should not be threatening to raise taxes either on American families, Bucks County families, or Bucks County small businesses. On the question of how do I differ from my party, I've been judged by others, including the National Journal, the Bipartisan Policy Council. I've been judged by others as one of the most independent members of the United States Congress. Just about 2 weeks ago, the Bipartisan Policy Council reviewed 25 moderate Democrats and 25 moderate Republicans. I was number 10 on the list as the one member of Congress most likely to cross party lines when I thought my party was wrong. There are numerous instances where I've done it regarding employment and labor issues, regarding environmental issues. It is just a matter of putting my district before my party. I've done it as a county commissioner. I've done it in the past as a member of Congress, and I'll continue to represent you and the district in the future. Ms. Bluth-Park.
Thank you. Congressman, with all due respect, your votes actually completely go against everything you just said. And if you could call yourself an independent, but your votes, you had an opportunity to differ from your party on the Ryan budget. You voted twice for the Ryan budget. You had an opportunity to differ from your party on funding Planned Parenthood, which provides critical health care services for women and families. You voted with your party. You had an opportunity to break from your party on the deficit, on businesses, on all kinds of issues. You have voted straight party line across the board on every vote of substance that impacts our livelihoods and our families here in Bucks County. And the Intelligencer and the Inquirer both stated exactly that. Look, I've spent my career not working for a party, not working for a special interest. I've spent my career as a mediator and a public interest lawyer working for the people of Pennsylvania, working for the people of Bucks County, Montgomery County, and southeastern Pennsylvania. This is a time to move beyond parties and power struggles and politics. We cannot afford to allow what has happened in Congress to continue to be governing how we go from here. We have an opportunity now to turn it around and to work together. And we talked about the budget crisis. We need to be looking at every side of this. We need to be looking at cost cuts. We need to end the subsidies for big oil and gas companies. We need to end the loopholes that allow us to ship our jobs overseas. We need to make sure that we're investing here and we're making cuts on both sides and looking for every piece of revenue we can so that we can avert this crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Some of these questions are yes or no. Maybe we can go through more questions with that kind of answer. This is for you, Ms. Bookbar. Do you support construction of the Keystone Pipeline?
As I said in the earlier question, public health and safety has to come first. You can't have a decision that's made such as this second, because the last thing we want to do is have a Gulf oil crisis. But if public health and safety is accounted for, then I support exploration of all domestic sources of energy production as long as public health and safety and the environment are protected.
Was that a yes or no? What was that?
Yes or no? That's a good answer. That's what
Thank you. Thank you from the audience. I do not need the audience participation. I asked you earlier, so
I'm
please.
going to leave the way you conducted this, sir. I'm glad to leave.
Goodbye. Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Same question. Do you support construction of the Keystone Pipeline?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do I get to add any comment as well?
If you wish.
I would just say in response to Ms. Bukbar's legitimate concerns for the environment. I mean, nobody has spoken out to protect the environment as much as I have in Bucks County. I led the effort for land preservation. I've led the effort for environmental protection in the United States Congress as well. But the fact is the Keystone XL pipeline has been the most reviewed and studied pipeline in the country. And it's time now to make a decision. If we just study and review and never actually get to the permit, what are we doing as a country? Are we ever going to be energy independent? We will not be. So Carlo asked a simple yes or no question. It's been reviewed. At this point in time, I've seen the permit. I've taken a look at the reviews. I understand the risks. I understand the ramifications of not doing it. And I say, in answer to a yes or no question, at this point in time, I say yes. My opponent wants to further review.
Thank you. This question is for Mr. Fitzpatrick. Adding government jobs increases costs and taxes. How are you going to increase private jobs? What will you do to reduce government?
I think we need to have a smarter federal government, which I think can be reduced in employee count, not by eliminating current jobs with current employees, but through attrition. I would support a plan that for every 3 employees who retire over the next 5, 10, 15 years, for every 3 retirements, that 2 individuals be hired so that over time, protecting all families that currently rely on those incomes, over time we can reduce the size and the scope of the federal government, because I believe that in their hearts, the American people believe that there's a significant amount of waste and over expenditures that occur in Washington. So we can and should reduce the size of the employee count of the federal government. But if you're asking, I think the question was, how do you then encourage the private sector to expand as opposed to the public sector? Again, going back to what the private sector has told me in terms of comprehensive tax reform, they would appreciate lower taxes, but they would actually accept just the current rates, stop threatening to increase taxes. So no higher taxes, a less complicated tax code to comply with, and get health care costs under control, as the federal government tried to do in the Affordable Care Act, but significantly missed the mark.
Thank you.